Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a Fear the Walking Dead video for today. Going to get my thoughts on this one first. Where, in terms of time placement now that we're into Fear the Walking Dead Season 3, is the original Walking Dead crew in this universe at this time? Alright, so this was one that was sent in. You guys can continue to send your questions to me so I can go ahead and make the videos with you guys and do some Q&As for Fear, as well as the original Walking Dead, as they're both in the same universe for the AMC Walking Dead TV series version. So, Odin Incognito says, at this point in time, Season 3, Episode 2, in Fear the Walking Dead, the Apocalypse timeline, where do you think the Walking Dead crew is at? So, Rick and the others. And then he says, the farm, perhaps. And actually, it's probably not even that far. I checked the wiki for this one and kind of compared in terms of the days. Not that much time has actually passed from where we ended off in the Season 2 finale. There's a bit after they're taken, and that you can probably assume there's like a day or two in between there, getting into the third season of Fear the Walking Dead after the first two episodes. We can assume maybe a few days have passed, something like that. But it certainly hasn't been that long. And when you look at that, it puts us around 40 days into the zombie apocalypse for the Fear the Walking Dead crew, which means Rick is still sleeping in his coma at this time. So it feels really weird to me that that's the case, that Rick is still asleep while all this shit has gone on with Fear the Walking Dead. But when you think about it, Rick wakes up in the original Walking Dead and, regular life as we know it is over. So with Fear the Walking Dead, they start off before that even occurs. Like, you have people still going to work. People are still, showing up at their jobs, doing their thing, and living regular life. And then you start to see everything crumble. You see the group, and they kind of survive in LA for a bit. They try to get some medical attention. They eventually, there's a bit of a time skip, and they eventually go to Mexico. We see all that kind of stuff. We have the part with the hotel and the stuff with the group that Louisiana came from, and then you have basically them finding their way to the Broke Jaw Ranch eventually, which is where we're at right now in Season 3 up to Episode 3. So yeah, after all this stuff has gone on, if you look at it in terms of timeline, Rick is still asleep in that coma, which is really crazy. And it also makes me feel like the Fear the Walking Dead crew has such a head start on the original Walking Dead crew. The original Walking Dead crew, of course, you had a lot more survivors than that, and it took seasons and it took a lot of time for them to kind of develop and for them to grow and be ready to survive in this kind of world. Whereas the Fear the Walking Dead crew, literally, while Rick is still sleeping, have gone through so much, and even now at this point, spoiler warning if you haven't seen Episode 2 yet, even more recently, dealing with tremendous amount of loss and just all those around them kind of, for the most part, a lot of them being killed off, not surviving, and having to fight their way through all kinds of different trials and tribulations, while the original Walking Dead group really had a pretty easy time at this point, I want to say, in comparison. In terms of timeline. So it is a little bit strange when you compare it like that, and when you look at it, you guys can write your comments below and let me know what you think. Maybe they should have put a time skip in there somewhere in Fear the Walking Dead to kind of have it make more sense and fit with the timeline with the Walking Dead a little bit better, because you'd think at this time going into Season 3 of Fear that Rick should at least be awake by now, but he wouldn't be at this time unless we get a time skip pretty soon. At least right now he's not. So that's for Odin. Although even though I think of it like you do, it kind of feels like the group should at least be at the farm at this point or something like that. Not even close, not even there. I guess what happens with, in a zombie apocalypse is once things start going crazy, they can go crazy for a while until maybe a group finds a place to settle, and then they can stay there for a while, and you can have quite a bit of time passing while they're just kind of living regular life until shit hits the fan again, and then a couple days can be like an eternity just trying to survive and trying to fend through the zombie apocalypse. Good question, though. Walkingdead Onupdates says, I'm tired of these people getting other parts and then we know they're dead meat. It's irritating as hell. And of course, like I said, spoiler warning if you haven't seen episode 2. So the death of Travis he's referring to, and him having had the role on Avatar and going to be doing the Avatar movies, a few of them it looks like. I'm still not sure. From what it seems like to me, from what I've read from Dave Erickson, they planned to kill him off. Like, it was written in the script, which would have been a while ago. So from what we know, he's just been cast recently. He would have been killed off a while ago in terms of filming. So for him to be cast in Avatar and all this kind of stuff, for me, it sounds to me like they plan this out, and that, or at least they're putting it on that way, where it seems like they didn't just have to do this right away because he got cast. They actually plan to kill Travis off in the season 3 premiere, which is really crazy for me. And, a lot of people, I'm seeing a lot of reactions right now, from people, and have been this week, where people are just like really kind of in disarray with the show. They really don't know what to think about Fear now. And because season 2 ended on such a high note for him, and it was just so sweet, and, people were really enjoying the character, and then they just kill him off right at the point where people are like, he's becoming a lot of people's favorite characters. Our favorite character, and it's just really a strange decision for sure. So I don't know if it was because he was cast in another another movie, another show, and had other work to do and had to leave Fear. I think it's actually because they actually decided earlier when they were writing this season, from what it sounds like, to kill him off earlier. So maybe later this week, if you guys want to see, we can go through the interview together and give our thoughts on what Dave Erickson said. But just to sum it up quickly, it sounds like he had planned that out originally. They had written that in. They told him, and then after that, he was cast in a role after he was already killed off. But it's just so weird to see, because Chris just died and everything, and it's like, it would have been cool to see more from him, but I don't know. Really crazy. Shreddah says, this is just my opinion, but I'm sorry, this show is garbage. So, and I'm seeing a lot of comments like that where people are like, they're just not sure how they feel about Fear anymore, because maybe they were already questioning it with Fear. Now killing off Travis has got them in a state where they're like, there's no reason to watch this show now. So I'm still giving it a chance. I'm still glued to find out where they're going to go with this next. But it does seem really crazy to me to do that. And it's just really, it's just bizarre for me. Jordan Vance says, Q&A Trev, I have not asked this question, or have not asked a question in a few months, so I want to ask, do you think, aside from Cliff Curtis getting cast in Avatar, that the producers sort of took a cue from Game of Thrones and just killed off their lead, or at least one of their characters that was one of their main leads? We all thought Eddard would survive for a really long time, yet he was killed off in an unexpected way and time. Travis survived for a bit, but was killed off in an unexpected way and time as well. Also, do you think they did this to truly say that any character can die at any time and shed off the safe characters label that is associated with many characters from The Walking Dead? Thank you, and keep up the great work. I actually do think, Jordan, you might be right here with the second part of what you said, which is that they want to get rid of this idea of safe characters. They don't want us to feel like anybody is safe at all, for sake of having it be a nice story. It sounds to me more like, if you want to look at it from like a, on a scale, if on one end you have kind of a nice story that you're going to get to read through, and you're going to get to kind of give people what they want, and have, maybe their heroes and their favorite characters survive the longest and do that. On the other end, you want to have it be unpredictable so that people don't know who's going to survive and who's going to be killed off. I'd say that The Walking Dead, I thought it was over here on the scale, closer to having a nicer story with some character deaths, but going to keep on the characters that are going to allow you to have, the best kind of story. I feel like they're kind of trying recently, from what I've seen in the Walking Dead comic book series, with some recent deaths and that. It feels to me more like they're trying to move it a bit more towards that uncomfortable spot where people are not comfortable watching the show, thinking, or any of the shows or comics or anything, where they think certain characters are safe. With Fear the Walking Dead doing what they just did, they put it into a situation where you don't feel like anybody is safe. Even Madison, or even some of the others, because I would have said for sure that I thought after season 2, Travis was definitely safe. If you watch my death predictions video, I don't remember what I said exactly, but I'm sure it was something along those lines that they just, I could not see them doing it. I still can't see them doing it, which is maybe why they did it, because they want to show that, you're not going to be able to predict this show. It's going to be really very unpredictable, and it certainly was. I mean, I would say from that episode, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, really. So we'll do a couple more. Epic Zombie Killer says, hey Trev, Q&A. When do you think we'll see Daniel? They said he was going to return this season, But when do you think he'll be back? Do you think he's at the ranch? And what are your thoughts on this? Trev PS, keep up the awesome work from Epic Zombie Killer. So I thought he would already be back. I thought we might see him in the premiere, sort of similar to how we see Sam at Terminus, kind of bring him up and there's just the guy there. That Rick had met before, Sam, who's Penguin in Gotham, the actor. In this version, I thought we'd see Daniel just there in captivity with the others, but we didn't get to see that at the border. So because he wasn't there, maybe we'll see Strand run into him at some point or something, because Strand's kind of separated. Maybe we'll find out where Ophelia is, and Ophelia will find her father again. Something like that could be good. Maybe for a mid-season finale or something like that, that could be a big event that they could bring in for us. But certainly, yeah, this show is it's pretty unpredictable right now, and it sounds to me like that's what they want. And that's what they're planning on, which is definitely, it does have me glued, and maybe it does take in a way apart from Game of Thrones, like Jordan said earlier. Game of Thrones being a series where they really kind of instill that you're not going to be able to predict this or know what's going to happen. You're going to have to read or watch to see. And after they did that, I feel like a lot more series are taking chances. So, if Game of Thrones never existed, will we see Travis killed off here? I don't know. But The Walking Dead also does take some chances here and there as well, too. I mean, they did kill off Shane second season, and he was a lead, really. John Bernthal was a lead in The Walking Dead. He had a lot of time in the first 2 seasons. So, maybe we shouldn't look at it the way kind of we are. We should look at it more like, Travis being killed off in a similar fashion to like Shane being killed off, and us not knowing who's going to survive long term, and that kind of amping up the excitement, which I'd say maybe it does. Swanee Rand says, I like Troy as a villain. Hope he sticks around to help with the other enemy group. So we'll make this one the last one from Swanee Rand. I really want to see them get us a really good villain for Fear. We've had a lot of mini villains in Fear, but we have not had like a memorable villain yet. We've had a lot of different little villains here and there, but we have not had a villain like the Governor or Negan or somebody like that. In order to do that, to build a villain like that, you need to put the time in to make it happen. I thought they might do it with Chris. Turns out that wasn't the case. Some of the other villains we had in the series as well too, didn't last. So yeah, I personally would like to see Troy or somebody become like a pretty epic villain to be used somehow, because I feel like Fear is missing that, and we need a really, really good villain for Fear that we have not had yet. We're into season 3. The Walking Dead had the Governor, they had Shane. Who are we going to have for Fear that's going to kind of be that Governor-esque villain? I'm hoping to see one this season at least, or the beginning of one this season, because I like it to kind of in some ways mirror or be similar in some ways to the original Walking Dead, and I feel like we really do need a strong group of villains to, or at least one strong villain to kind of fill that role the Governor had, that we could see something similar in Fear, which would be cool. We did have characters like Celia in that, which I don't know if you call her villain, kind of. Maybe a little. Yeah, I guess you could. Anyway, that'll be it for this Q&A for today, guys. Keep sending me your questions for Fear. We could talk about it, as much as you guys want to. Definitely was a crazy double premiere, and still not sure how I feel about it. I'm sure a lot of you guys are like that as well too. Write your comments below, and if you like this video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to subscribe. Appreciate it, guys. We'll see you again soon for another video. It's Trav saying peace. Later, guys. See ya.